Hello, everyone. Happy Tuesday. It's Tuesday night, so you all know what time it is. It is time for Ready to Love, for us to do our chop up, our mash up of this last episode. I'm speechless. There is so much to talk about this episode. So if you are just joining, I want you to hit that like button. If you are on YouTube, make sure you hit it. If you're on Facebook, make sure you hit it. Share this. We are going to have some fun on tonight. This has been the most interesting season of Ready to Love that, yeah, for me, it's been interesting in so many ways. So I want to welcome you to our live chop up mash up of Ready to Love season 3 episode 9. So let's jump in. I don't want to waste time. I want to jump right in to our review and our recap of it. They titled this particular episode Second Choices, Second Chances. Second choices, second chances. And right as we start, I want to just ask a question. Just ask a question. And I didn't ask you all just to say hello in the comments so that I'll know who you are, so that I'll be able to say hello to you. So drop a hello in the comments and tell me um, which platform that you're watching. Are you watching on YouTube? Are you watching on Facebook? Let me know that. But let's dig into it. Second choices, second chances. And before we even talk about that, I want to talk about the topic, how they titled this episode, because I'm a chick, y'all. And I don't know how I like the thought of being somebody's second choice. So before we even jump into this episode and we start talking about it, I want to know how you all feel about being someone's second choice in a dating relationship. Do you want to be number two? Like, I like both of you, but I like her better. Like, how would that make you feel to know that you are number two, that you are not top of mind for somebody, that you are not their preference, that someone else they just like better than you? So I want to know how you all feel about being somebody's number two, because I don't know how. Well, okay, no, I do know how I feel about that. I just know that I don't feel good about being number two. So I want to know, y'all let me know in the comments how that would make you feel to be someone's number two. Second, what do they call it? Second choices, second chances. And on this episode, Tommy kind of challenges the men to talk to the women that they haven't had their best connection with. They feel, she could be a possibility, but not really. And so the dates for this episode are going to be on that, the second choice. And so I want to I wanted to just preface it with that these women know going in that they are number two. Number two. So I feel some kind of way about that. Y'all let me know in the comments if you feel some way about that, or if you think that because of the environment that they're in, that most of the women were okay with knowing they could be number two and not number one. Let me know if that is something that you think that will, because they're on the show, they knew that possibly that there would be several men that liked, or there would be men that liked several women, and they would be one of. So y'all let me know how y'all feel about that. I feel some kind of way because I don't want to be, anybody's number two. But that's what this episode is about, and it is a doozy, and it is chock filled with information. So we're going to go from the top down. We're just going to walk through the show. The first thing that you see after Tommy had, the first thing we see is Jay and Winter at the pool. They're glad that they're still there. They didn't get eliminated. And so they're having this talk, And Winter, she's trying to feel Jay out. She's trying to feel like, because Jay is her number one. So she's trying to feel, well, where is his head at? How is he thinking? She knows up until this point that Joy has been Jay's number one. So she's trying to feel like, where do I fit in this? So at the pool, she talks about how, Tommy asked them if they had to make a decision right now, who would they choose? And so she's asking Jay, so, how would you have answered that? And then Jay says it would be Joy. Oh, y'all, I was crushed for her. I was like, oh, I just wanted to go to her, like, do the Sinclair, woo, 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 woo. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. Because no woman wants to have a man to her face say, I don't prefer you. I actually prefer Joy. But I thought she took it, really graciously. You could tell she was a little hurt. And he asked her, how does that make you feel? And, she said, well, it doesn't really make me feel good. I don't like it. And then he asked her the question, well, what did you say about that? And what does Winter say? Well, I picked you. So I'm thinking, how does he feel now that, he's been man enough to tell her, I would have picked somebody else. I would have picked Joy. But, that is what it is. But hearing, not only did he select somebody else, but that she chose him. What could have been going through his mind, how he would have felt about that. So I think at that moment, Joy started making some decisions. And I think leading up to that, because Joy has always been Jay's number one. She's thinking, okay, we're getting down to the end. Maybe I'm wasting my time. So I want you just to put a pin in that. Maybe I'm wasting my time is what she's thinking. I was thinking that a couple of weeks ago, but, I think it's kind of just, sinking into her. And so then they segue. They're in I don't know if that's the man cave, the woman cave, the decision cave, wherever, they deliberate. And Tommy's talking to the guys and he's telling them, this is going to be where you need to be vulnerable with these women. You need to really get to know the women that aren't top of mind for you, that aren't your number one. I want you to spend time with that number two, second choice, second chance. And I want you to get to know them and open up and share with them to see if there is a possibility with them. And so the next thing we see after that is Jay and Joy. Now, y'all tell me how y'all felt about this, but I thought this conversation was so interesting because in this conversation, Jay is almost warning Joy. He's saying to her, hey, we just had a meet up with Tommy and we have to, our second choice, we'll have to kind of date them and spend some time with them. So you may not see me. It's almost like him telling her, you won't be able to talk to me or, we won't be able to chit chat, date like we're used to doing, but still no, it's not my choice. He's giving her a heads up that it's you. It's you I like. It's you I want. I got to go on these dates with her. I got to hang out with her because that's our assignment. But just know. And so it's almost as if Jay is setting her up so that she's not concerned, so that she's not worried, so that she doesn't think that his mind is changed, that he's shifted. He's kind of telling her, my mind is not changed. I haven't gone anywhere. I just want you to know this is an assignment. Like, the teacher gave us an assignment to do. Joe, I got to do this assignment. So please, when you see me with her, don't think that my feelings have changed. Don't think that my allegiance has changed. Don't think that you aren't number one. And so I thought it really, really interesting that that he gave her that warning. But I thought it was interesting too how she said, because he said, so if you see me with somebody else, and she was like, I've been seeing you with other people all the time. So she's basically telling him, this ain't nothing new. You've been skirting around here, dating everybody all the while. Anyway, you may have spent more time with me, but it wasn't like I didn't see you with anybody else, So she's kind of like letting him know, sister girl got options. So I've seen you with other people. Just beware and be good. So I thought that was really, really, really interesting how he did that. So tell me, I want to know in the comments, how did you feel about him warning her? That's what I call it. Warning, warning, warning. You're going to see me with somebody else, but I don't like them, like them, like them. I want you. So don't trip when you see that. So that's what that was to me, his warning. And then we see what I call production at its finest. You see this juxtaposition of couples. On one hand, you see Rasheed talking to Alex. They're setting up their date. He's telling her about, this whole assignment that they've gotten for Tommy. And then on the other hand, you see Calfini talking to Denise, setting up their date. And in the middle of that, you see who? Adriana. I thought that was the biggest setup. I was like, okay, come on, y'all, production. Y'all, we see that. You got both of her interests, Calfini and Rasheed, asking other women out. And so she's kind of in this middle space. And that just made me think about something I'm going to talk about later on. So I'm going to put a pin in that in my mind. But so she's in the middle watching her two top people ask other people out for dates because she's both of their number one. So she has to sit back this week. She's not the one. She's not getting the attention. So I'm wondering, even as I talk through it, how the number ones must feel this week, how they could have felt. They've been getting all the attention because they were number one. The guys really liked them. And so they weren't suffering for attention. They always had it. But this week, they don't have it. So how is Adriana feeling that? Because you can see her face. She's not really happy about it. Hey, Marie, thanks so much for joining. Thanks so much for the thumbs up. So she's not really, you can tell she's not feeling that the two people she liked, they're about to go on dates with somebody else. So that was really interesting how they set that up straight for TV. They set it up for us so that we would see that. And then so we segue and we go into Calfini and Denise's date. Now they had a sexy date, y'all. Y'all, come on, y'all got to give it to him. Because of his profession, he's a trainer. He's giving her a massage, and now everybody knows that Denise is just in love with Calfini, so she is having it. Oh, hey, April, thanks so much for joining. April says he's just keeping Winter in the pocket just in case because she is definitely not his number one. Wow, I didn't think about that. She says he did that because he is probably threatened by Edwin's interest in Joy. That could be. I didn't think about that. Thanks for throwing that in there. Throwing that in there. Yes, Marie, this is my Church Girl Nation shirt. I love this shirt. Y'all be sure to check it out. Y'all can get your own Church Girl Nation. But anywho, let's jump on through this story. So what's interesting to me for their date, that whole, sexy massage date, they're outside and, he's working her over and she is in straight up heaven because to be honest, in Denise's mind, everybody else can go and her and Calfini can just, tiptoe through the tulips and walk off into the sunset. But what I found really, really interesting was when she started telling her story and he asks her, I guess when was the last time she's been in love or been in a relationship? And she says 2001. That's a long time. I thought it was a long time since I'd been in a serious relationship. But 19 years, she got me like really, really beat. She's got me beat. Hey, Queen's Corner, thanks for joining. Thanks for joining. Thank y'all for this thumbs up. Thanks, Word of God Garden. Thanks so much for joining. And thanks for the thumbs up. Yes, y'all hit that like button. So I thought that was just really interesting that she's gone that long. And I don't know if it was, remember she talked about the abusive relationship that she had been in where she was really like, she almost basically had to fight for her life. And so I am sure coming out of that kind of situation, that would make you revert. That would make you sit back and think about things. And you probably need some therapy. You probably need some counseling. You need Jesus to walk you through that, so that you can heal adequately and appropriately so that you can feel safe with your own decisions. Because a lot of times when we go through those kinds of relationships, we start second judging and second guessing our own decision making because you chose that person to be in a relationship. So you start thinking about where am I choosing wrong? Where am I thinking wrong? And so to hear her story and everything that she went through, and how long it had been since she had been in a relationship. To me, that's a signal to a guy that he needs to be really, really careful, and that he needs to be really, really mindful, and that the person that he's dealing with is going to be really, really sensitive. She's going to be really, really sensitive. And so he needs to be mindful of that. Does he have the capacity to be as sensitive as Denise needs? Does he have the capacity to be as careful in areas that he may not have to be as careful with other people? He's going to have to walk in a different sensitivity with someone that has been through what Denise has been through. It's not like dating a person that hasn't been through a life-threatening relationship. This is different from being in a relationship that just went bad and y'all, didn't work out, and you parted ways. It's, when you're dealing with emotional abuse, mental abuse, physical abuse, all of those people that have gone through that kind of stress and strife in marriages and in relationships, dealing with them is different. It's people that have been through sexual abuse. You have to care for those kinds of people, or people that have been through those kinds of situations, a lot differently. You have to be, your makeup has to be set up differently. You have to be a different kind of person to be able to handle somebody's heart that's been through that. And so hearing her story was really, really good. I think they had a really, really great talk, really, really great conversation. But what I noticed is when they start talking about the jealousy thing, Calfini asked her, with my job, my career, I'm a trainer, so that means I see women in nothing all the time, and that's my job. How are you going to be with that? And her answer was, she'd be okay, but we know Calfini has reservations about that. He has You could see it in his face when she answered the question. He is still not sure that she would be okay with that. And I'm not sure, because knowing her background and seeing how possessive she got with him, let's say this is a month that they're on this, resort, getting to know one another, how possessive she became in that short period of time. How would she be outside of that? So that kind of concerns me. Her possessiveness, her jealousy. How would he actually walk through that? Because she does need a different kind of man. So tell me how you all feel about um, Calfini's response to her. And does he have reason to be concerned? Let me know if you think he has reason to be concerned. So then we jump through Alex and Rasheed's date. They got this cute little fondue date, and they're feeding each other, chocolate covered marshmallows, strawberries. They're having fun. But to me, it seems like a friend vibe. And I feel bad for Alex because it's like too late. It's kind of like Simone before, but with just a different personality. She's waited too late. Simone was dating everybody and waited too late. Alex was dating one person specifically, and now she's trying to make connections with other people, namely Rasheed, and it's a little too late because Rasheed already has two really strong people that he's interested in. And so for now, right now, Alex is just kind of like, yeah, this is another one. And so I think she's waited too late. They have a really good friend vibe. I think they could, if situations had been different and she had been open to dating the other guys earlier on, it could have been something. But because she's waited so long, it was just a fun, friendly date. Although I did want to know that if you have not seen that episode yet, you need to go back to this episode and just get the questions that they asked. All of the dates, they had great questions. Questions that you should be asking someone that you are interested in, someone that you are looking to build a life with. All of those questions women need to ask, men need to ask. Those are questions you need answers to. So kudos to whoever the writing staff was for Ready to Love. Those questions were amazing for getting to know someone. I loved the questions. Then we roll into Joy and Edwin in their gazebo date. I loved how they set up the gazebo with the shears and with the lights. It was so very romantic. Just too bad that, yeah, Joy does not like Edwin like that. She just does not. She is sold on Jay. She is on this romantic date in this the most beautiful setup, but she just does. She's not feeling Edwin like that. Edwin's a nice guy. She thinks he's a stand-up guy. She thinks he's a guy filled with integrity, but she's not feeling him like she is feeling Jay. And it's almost the vibe I get from Edwin and Joy is almost like just this closest kinship and camaraderie. I won't say brother sister kind of thing, but you can tell that there is a genuine friend connection. You can tell that I believe in all my heart that they will be friends forever. That they will be friends forever because Joy's affection for Edwin is pure, and I believe it is with the best intentions for him. And so I love them as friends, and I wish that Joy liked Edwin, but I just don't think she does. I think Jay has kind of overshadowed that, at least in the tapings or in the segments that they're showing us. That's what it seems like to me. But I think that they have connected on a soul level almost. And you see that, and we'll talk about that a little bit later in the end of the show. But I loved the whole setup of that particular date. The next date we go through is Jay and Winter, which again, it was the most beautiful setup. Tommy had them set up by the water. They have this telescope and they're stargazing, and he's showing her, constellations. And Jay just could not, he just almost didn't even have to show up to this date for me. It was just so blasé for me. And I know Winter is digging him, but Jay's walls are up. He has closed the door. Joy is who he wants, and he is going through the motions in this date. He is at this date because that is what he has to do for this show. He is not, when I say he is not feeling Winter, I don't know what happened behind the scenes, where if it was the kiss at the little wine tasting that he and Joy had last week. But Jay is not, he's not even there emotionally for her. He is not there emotionally. Jay is on this date physically with Winter, but his emotions are checked out. He is not interested at all. And it is telling in the questions, that he won't even open up and answer the questions that Tommy has given them to ask each other. So I felt bad for Winter because through the date, you can tell she's still trying. She still really likes Jay. He's still her number one. And so she's really trying. And when she asked him for a kiss, it was, my heart dropped. I was so hurt for her. I was like, come on, Winter. This man has shown you throughout this date that he is not interested. And then you're going to say to him, and well, we ain't had no kid. It just ain't there. And then to add insult to injury, when she asks basically for a kiss, and he tells her, I'm gonna give you what you want, and then kisses her on her cheek. It was like a dagger to your heart. It was just like, oh, I feel so bad for her. Here you are asking for something, and he humors you. I mean, he almost plays with you. He should have just said no. I don't feel like we're to that point, or just something else, because that was, to me, that was like, you shouldn't even done that, because to me that would have hurt me more than you just saying no. I just know. But anyway, so I thought that was like the biggest diss you could have ever done. And so now Winter knows Jay's not here for you. If he was in the beginning, he is totally not now. So set your sights on somebody else, because you will not be leaving this show with Jay. Even if he does, if Joy says no, you will not be leaving with Jay. So for me, that hurt me to see her walk through that, because you can really tell she's trying, but she's trying with someone that doesn't want her. And that makes me think of all the women who are trying and putting themselves out to men that do not want you, that do not want you. Oh, thank you, April. She says, I think she was trying to see if anything was there. She was really trying. And now she's got her answer. Now she's got her answer. Um, but even now, thinking about something that Winter said about love, about you just have to jump off the cliff. She's jumping off the cliff. She has been married and divorced, and she says she doesn't fear falling in love and getting hurt because she knows that she can recover. So for her, she's going, like, people say now, shoot your shot. She shot her shot. He didn't receive it. It didn't land how she wanted to land, but now she knows. Oh, and April says that he did exactly what she figured he would do because she already knew. She already knew. Thanks so much for staying with me, Queen's Corner. Thanks so much for staying with me. Yeah, and so now she knows she doesn't have to guess. She doesn't have to think, maybe, maybe not, maybe, maybe not. She actually knows that he's not into her. Thank you, Word of God, for staying with me too. Thank you all. I appreciate you. And then so we go to Rasheed and Adriana. To me, this was a very, very interesting conversation, because Rasheed came to this conversation bearing gifts and bearing knowledge for Adriana. He gives her a gift, and then he tells her, I know we're going through this process, but I want you to know it's you I want, basically what he said. You are the woman I want. You are the woman I want. This is what Rasheed says to Adriana. And Adriana says, when he asked her, well, how are you feeling? And I just realized I didn't put up any of the pictures. I'm just rambling. So he asked Adriana, how are you feeling about that? And y'all, what does Adriana say? I couldn't believe it. She basically says, I'm still thinking, I'm still processing. This man has basically told you, it's you, girl. You were the one I wanted. She was like, I'm thinking. To me, that was another like, man. But I guess, that's what happens when you are interested in somebody. You risk your heart. You risk being hurt. You risk knowing that maybe you're more into someone than that person's into you. I've been in a position where I've been more into, a person than they were into me. Like, I was like feeling him and he wasn't feeling me. And that does not feel good. And so I could understand how Rasheed could be feeling at that moment. Yes, April, a woman's intuition is real. And ladies, when you feel something, do not try to brush it away. Do not try to discount it. That is God's gift to you when he's saying, this something ain't right about this, or he playing with you, girl. Listen, listen, Linda. Listen to that inner knowing that you have and trust it. It will lead you better than a man's words. Trust me when I tell you, it will lead you better. So so take heed when you know. Take heed when you know. And so for me, that whole conversation, I just saw a shift in how she felt about it. And so it made me wonder, this time alone is giving Adriana time to think. Because remember, she's two of the men, she's their first pick. So that means she's not going on dates. So she's watching Rasheed date Alex. She's watching Calfini date Denise. And so now she's got to think, hey, what am I going to do? And so she's, just basically telling him, I'm kind of trying to figure it out. Yes, April, she's confused. Yeah, and so I don't know um, where her head is. Um, so I'm just wondering. I just thought that for Rasheed, I was just a little hurt for him. I was a little concerned um, about how that was going down and how he would respond. How we would feel about that. But so let's break through to Winter and Anthony. Their little cute date. They're playing badminton. They do this little bet. You know, if Anthony's like, if I win, then I get a kiss, and Winter's like, if I win, I get a kiss, and then you have to, carry me piggyback back to the, resort. And so, of course, they're playing. Winter wins. She gets the kiss, and then they sit down and they go through these questions. I tell y'all, these questions are the truth. I need to go back and start writing those questions down. So they get to talking about these questions, and I am trying to figure out where Anthony's head is, because Winter asks him a question, and Anthony reveals that he has never been in love before. Like, and in my mind, I'm thinking like, never, ever, ever. You got to be at least in your 30s, and you have never, like, never been in love, like, ever in life. Wow. I don't know, and this is just me. I don't know any of my friends that are in their 30s that have never been in love before, like ever. Now, they've been in love and got married to the love of their lives. They've been in love and been hurt and met somebody else, married to the love of their lives. They've been, in love, got hurt. God healed them and they're believing God for a spouse. But I don't know anybody at this stage in our lives that has never been in love. So for me, that was kind of like a red flag, because are you running from love? Are you afraid to love someone? Or have you just been kind of like, who was it? Lord, he just got eliminated. His name escapes me already. That you've been playing around. And so to me, that was concerning, that he's never been in love. And Winter's looking for grown woman love. So to me, that's a little different. That whole interaction, that whole partnership would be different for me. So I'm just not sure. And I still get a friend vibe from them. I don't get friend plus romantically interested vibe. I get we the last, and we gonna try to see if we can make it work. So, because what I still believe is that Denise is Anthony's. He's still got Denise on his mind. He's trying to see if this can work with Winter, but I still think that he's thinking Denise is the one for him. So I don't know how seriously he's taking it. And I want to spend a second here on Edwin and Joy's conversation at the end of the show. To me, that was a moment. And I'm just going to be honest with y'all. And none of my family will be surprised at this, because I am a crier. I cry at really sentimental commercials. And so it doesn't take me a lot to cry. So to say that when they had this conversation and I teared up, for my family will be like no surprise. My friends will not be surprised at all. But for me, it was so touching when he is expressing to her his thanks for opening him up to being better, for getting counseling and therapy for his PTSD, and because he talks about how he probably wouldn't have been open or receptive to that before. So he's just thanking her. And then to see them both like tear up, and it was an emotional moment, this whole little cry fest they had going on. So I'm sure there were some some wet eyes across the nation as we watched that particular segment. And like I said earlier, I just believe they will be friends forever. I think they have made a soul connection, of a kinship, a friendship that goes beyond a reality TV show, that goes beyond, I'm trying to find love and, looking for a husband, looking for a wife, or looking for a partner. I think what they have found in their friendship goes so far beyond that it was just beautiful to see him express that to her. For a man to open up to someone who he knows, and when he said these words, when he told her that even if you don't choose me, that I just am thankful that I met you. That's strong. That's strong for a man to say that to you. That's deep. That's deep. And so the whole time I'm like, oh, Joy, I wish you liked Edwin. And I think, and this is just, well, this whole thing is my personal opinion. But I think what stops Joy from being interested that way in Edwin is because of his PTSD, because she knows what will be required to love and being in a relationship with somebody that suffers from PTSD. And I don't believe she wants that. Even though I think he's this beautiful person. And that's what you need to know too. When you are dating someone that has issues, you have to ask yourself, do I have the capacity or the desire to walk with someone through that? And if you don't, the best service to them is to walk away, is to let them go and find someone that has the grace. My first lady from Dallas would always say, have the grace for that assignment, because that's an assignment and you need God's grace for that. And so I think that's the thing that stops her, or that stopped her from actually moving forward with Edwin, was his mental issues, his PTSD, and knowing that right now that he hasn't healed enough for her to be investing time, because she's ready now to be in a relationship, and she knows that for him, he's probably going to need to be in therapy for a while before he's ready. And then Tommy gets into the man cave. I guess that's what they call it, decision cave, wherever they are. And he's talking to the men, chopping it up about their dates. How did they think about this one? How did they think about that one? So that was interesting to me, hearing the men and watching their faces as the others are talking about their dates. That was really, really interesting. And here's April says, I'm thinking we're going to be surprised by Edwin and Joy, because like you said, their friendship is dope and it isn't over. And it isn't that what we, okay, I'm reading that wrong. And isn't that what we want as women? I believe he will do the work for her first, then they reconnect. That could be what happens, because I didn't see anybody on this show connect in a real way like Joy and Edwin. They had a real connection. And I'm not talking about just this romantic, he gives me butterflies every time I'm around him, all of that stuff that's going to fade as time goes on and your relationship deepens. All of that, Joy and Edwin have a friendship and a connection that's not superficial, that's not dependent on body styles and your career choices. They have a soul connection that's based on who they are as people. And that is what I've been missing seeing in all these other couples. I have not seen that in all these other couples, which you need to sustain a relationship. You got to connect on a soul level where you connect as people. I like you as a person, not just you fine, you cute, you got a great career, you're going places, we're going to be power couple. No, no, no. all of that aside, do I connect with you on a human level as a person? And that's the kind of connection I see with Joy and Edwin that I don't see with any of these other couples, because even though they like each other, I would say none of them, that's just my 2 cents, none of them seem suited for marriage. And maybe, again, I will always, preface what I'm saying with it could be editing. It could be stuff we're not seeing and we don't get to see the whole picture. So we don't know how the production works. But yeah, I can see this show being like the rest of them, it going off and nobody connects. Nobody nobody makes it, because they're not connecting on a deep level, the level that I see with Joy and Edwin. So then we get to eliminations. And of course, if you have been following the show, you know that Alex was eliminated on this show. And I think we all knew it because her only connection was Rasheed. And like I said, Rasheed, he's straight Adriana. That's who he wants. He wants Adriana. Now, whether Adriana wants him, that's to be seen through the remaining episodes. And there was no other connection. So, of course, she was the one that got eliminated this particular segment. But I loved how gracious she was. I've always loved how she's presenting herself. I love her personality. I love her demeanor. She's just classy. And so I love how she exited the show. It was beautifully done. It was beautifully executed by the both of them, how they talked through what was going on. And that's how elimination should happen. This shouldn't be this storming out. I'm dating somebody anyway. All of that is like not necessary. Okay. But so, and I just believe she'll have success in whatever she does, and that she'll be, Alex is going to be fine. Alex is going to be fine. So before we jump off tonight, I want to know from you all, is there a couple that you think is going to make it? Is there a couple you believe is going to make it and that will actually be something outside of what we see? I've already told y'all I don't think so. I don't think, now they may at the end, like they always do, walk off with three couples that by the time it's over, the reunion show, we figure out none of it worked. I don't think there will be. Uh, Jay and Joy, I don't I don't think that's gonna last. I don't. Um, Rasheed, I'm not even sure where Adriana is. I know that's who Rasheed wants, but I don't know if she's like all into Calfini now. So I don't know if Adriana's ready to make that kind of solid decision, because the men that like Adriana, they grown men. And I see a little bit of immaturity in Adriana that I don't know if she's ready for what these men bring. Um, so I'm kind of concerned about that. Like, is she ready for like a grown relationship? Maybe. Maybe I'm reading her wrong, but it'll be interesting to see. So let me know how you all feel about that. And thank you all for hanging with me on tonight. I appreciate it. If you're on my YouTube channel, or even if you aren't, I just dropped a video a couple days ago for aspiring authors. So if you are an aspiring author or you know one, head on over and check that video out. It's going to help you write your first book or your next book. And so I look forward to seeing you then. And then on Saturdays at 11 a.m. is when I drop my videos. Saturday, I'm dropping a video, and it's going to talk about the things that I think every single Christian woman needs to leave in 2020. So just some good advice for you before we go into the new year, so that we are ready, prepped, and ready. And if you have not already liked and shared this video with a good girlfriend, do that before you exit the show, and I will see you later. Have a great evening.